Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon, here on Squidcraft, Liara's patron server. So last episode, we went and built up a few decorations around the base, and I am quite happy with some of them. I still have not gotten the custom tree behind me built up, but what I did go and do is I found out where all the Endermen are spawning, and it's on this roof. So incredibly clever me went and put this line of slabs here on the upper half. So all of these slabs on the side, on actually both sides here, are spawnable for Endermen. So that's where all the Endermen have been spawning around here. But no matter, we aren't going to be in this area. Instead, we are going to be right down there to build up a small little plant nursery. Just ignore the giant field of dirt. I'm kind of running low on grass. So I've gone and gathered a few materials that we're going to need for this, and it's a fairly simple build. At least the walls and stuff are. So I am going to mark out the edge here. That way I can remove the calcite I'm using as a marker block, and then I will be back to get started. Alright, so I've got the outline of the building marked out here. And why I've done this will be clear later. But we've got this kind of L shape here. And we are going to do something a little bit different to start this off. And that is to put in the floor. Yes, I know, we never put in a floor first. Half the time we don't even put one into the building in general. Anyway, how this floor is going to work is we are going to have some warp planks going up the center of the first part of the L as a flower stem. We're going to have birch wood around the outside, and then we're going to have flowers made out of crimson planks and shrimlights. Now, for the most part, these aren't going to be very complicated flowers. They're just going to branch off every so often on both sides of the stem into these small little 3x3 flowers. So these will double between lighting up the build with the shrimlights, hello Enderman, as well as just looking pretty. Now we're going to have a variety of flowers here branching off. So some of them are going to have different length branches. Now we are going to have one here that doesn't have any shrimlights, so it's just going to be a flower bud, because generally not every flower is going to be in bloom at the same time. So we might as well have one just be a bud. And then on top here, we will have a nice big flower that is going to have a shrimlight center, the same size as the smaller flowers. Now I thought this would be a nice little floor here for this building, since it is a plant nursery. We might as well have a giant plant on the floor. Now this last bit of the building is going to be a little different because I don't really have a pattern for it. So it's just going to be filled in with polished andesite, because this is going to be the nursery for the water plants. So I'm going to get the rest of the floor in, and then I will be back with you once we're ready to start putting up the walls. Alright, so since this is somewhat of a greenhouse, we are going to have very simple walls. They're mostly going to be made out of glass with some andesite walls that are going to be about every 4 blocks. This is just going to help divide the glass up a bit and give it a little more support, or at least hopefully the illusion of it. And that is only going to go up 3 blocks. We don't need a very tall building. This is mostly just for small plants. Now on top of that short wall, we're going to cap it off with a line of polished andesite, which is going to be built up into a kind of a dome, which is going to be built up into a small dome. Now we do have a little window in the top there. It's kind of too small for me to do anything with. I suppose I could put a flower design in there, but I don't really think that's going to be necessary. I have done several flower windows at this base, and I think not putting in one more is going to be just fine. Now I might switch it out for magenta glass because we've got lots of that. But other than that, I really don't see much else I really need to do with it. Although the magenta glasses give me an idea. You know what? I think I have some yellow glass as well. Let's actually go test out a small flower pattern for this. Okay, so stained glass obtained. Let's fill that in and see how it looks. Yeah, not bad. It kind of mirrors what we have on the floor here, which I think is good. Now, I'm not going to have that go all the way around so we have a giant flower, but I think just the cross shape there will be sufficient. Now, for the roof, we're going to do all glass because, again, this is supposed to be a greenhouse, but unfortunately, I am pretty much out of glass. I have about another half stack of sand that I can smelt, and this is a little bit bigger than 32 blocks. So I am going to go get the rest of these walls in with what glass I have. It should be just enough. And then I guess I'm going to go get more sand. Alright, so we have a roof in, and there's not much to it. It's just a simple glass roof. But for our decoration inside here, we are going to have several tables that are just going to be the oak stairs and planks. And those are just going to run for about 6 blocks, I think. And on top of them, we are going to put flower pots. Now these are going to be filled with a variety of things that are going to be growing in here. For example, this one's probably going to be bamboo and cactus. But we will also have some saplings, some azalea bushes, and some mushrooms in here as well. And that will basically take up the front area here. And I think that for these little tables, we're going to try and kind of theme them as well. Now the water plants are going to need something a little bit different. And apparently I missed a birch plank up there. Weird. But we will get to that a little bit later. Because before we do that, I want to get the ceiling done. And for that, what we're going to have is we're going to have 2 chains. We're going to connect to a thing of rooted dirt that we're going to put some of these warp trap doors around. I think these look really nice. And I also like the teal color, which that should make that look a little more decorative. And we'll put a spore blossom on there. Kind of like we got a hanging pot and they're growing out the bottom. We're also going to add a little bit more light to the area by hanging some shroom lights. I haven't quite decided if I want to put trapdoors along those as well. I might just leave them as is. They look fine. And we are going to have 2 of each. The last shroom light goes in this area over here, about halfway down. And I think that will just add a little bit of interesting decoration to the area. And also decorative kind of themed lighting. Because I guess technically shroom lights are kind of plants or fungi. But this also allows us to utilize the large open space in the ceiling, which I kind of like. Alright, so I have all of the plants that I'm going to need for this first section here. And each one of these tables is going to have a different little theme. So one of these, we're just going to have some ferns. We'll have some cactuses and bamboo. We will also have some azaleas. I think those should look pretty nice in little pots. I got some oak saplings here, and we'll probably mix in a couple dead bushes, I think, as saplings that didn't quite make it. And this last table here is going to have a bunch of fungus and other nether stuff. So I think that I didn't want to fill up every single pot, so it looks like there's stuff that's still yet to grow or hasn't been planted yet. But I think that this looks pretty nice, and it looks like a little nursery for all the plants that we're going to have eventually out in the garden, even if we are never going to actually put most of these in the garden. Alright, so now that the tables are all filled up with plants, the last thing that we need is to fill in this corner, and what I have planned for that is a simple little pool. Now this is going to be for water plants. I might expand this out a little bit, but right now we're just going to keep it centered. And that is going to have the floor here replaced with a little bit of clay, coarse dirt, and rooted dirt, which I think should go good for kind of approximating a lush cave kind of pool, because most of these plants are from there. And that's mostly so we can put some small drip leaf in there. We'll get some big ones as well. And I need to get some lily pads to put on top of that as well, so that this isn't just a pool of water with plants in it. I think we're going to put in a small little waterfall, which is just going to tumble down this little rock formation here from the corner. And we'll just keep using this mossy and cobblestone mix to make it look kind of overgrown and also slightly damp. So once we actually get all the moss stone in as we want it, we just need to get this filled up a bit, and I think that looks okay. So I guess we can start putting in the water. And there we go. Now that the water is in, we can add the rest of the finishing touches. So we'll just put a couple of those. Make that a little bit taller. Don't think we can put any on the stones, so it'll just be in this pool. And let's see, let's make that one taller. And I think that looks really nice for a small little water pool. Now again, we may expand this out by another block on both sides here, just so we have a little bit bigger pool. And we still need the lily pads, because last I checked, I didn't have any more of those just sitting around. So we will have to go back to the overworld to go gather up a few of those. Now the very last little piece I want to stick in here that I have is this little guy right here. We don't have any axolotls at the base right now. I caught this guy in the overworld. And I think they fixed the bug that allows them to spawn out here with 1.18. And hopefully, he should stay in this little pool. If not, I do have other brown axolotls, so I can breed more, presumably. But I think that this little guy should provide a little bit of adorableness to this pond. But I think with that is gonna be about it for today. So, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.